George Moghalu. Chief Dr. George Moghalu, a former managing director of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, is currently vying for the Anambra State governorship seat under the Labour Party. Chief Moghalu initially expressed interest in contesting the governorship election under the All Progressives Congress, but he later defected to the Labour Party. His decision to join the Labour Party was reportedly after extensive consultations with his supporters, political colleagues, and friends. Moghalu's vision for Anambra State is centered around transparent, accountable, and people-oriented leadership. He aims to address the state's systemic problems such as crumbling infrastructure and growing insecurity, and provide concrete solutions to improve the quality of life for Anambra citizens. His mission is encapsulated in the phrase, Anambra Ga-Adikwa Mma Ozo, which translates to Anambra will be great again. Is Chief George Moghalu the man Anambra is waiting for come November 2025? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Obodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments in Southeast Nigeria. Joining me tonight is Chief Dr. George Moghalu, Anambra gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you very much, Alex, for having me.
So, first things first, why do you want to be governor of Anambra State?
Since the question came in a very simple time, the answer will also come in a very simple time, to serve my people and to change the narrative.
So this will suggest that those who's been there or those who are already there aren't doing just the thing you expect.
Yes, everybody has what is driving him or her, and then you make up your mind on what you want to do. Reasons for seeking for political office is individuals. It's individualistic, so it's left for you to say what you want to do, say why you want to seek for such office. But for me, it's about service, it's about people, it's about Anambra. So if you ask me in very simple terms, why do you want to be governor? I want to be governor because I want to serve my people, because I want to change the narrative, because I want to bring to public domain my thoughts for a greater Anambra State.
All right, we'll drive right into that a little later. Let's step back a bit and remain at some of those narratives you want to change. In a recent press conference, you demanded for the disbandment of Agune Chamber security outfit in Anambra State, citing lack of training as your reason. I mean, considering that there is a law establishing them, are you going to champion the repeal of that law if and when you emerge as governor?
Like I was very straight about my position with regards to the Agune Chamber outfit. The recent incident that came to public domain that led to that comment was the dehumanization, the brutalization of a lady corps member in Anambra State. And then don't forget that there have been instances in the past where this same group of persons have practically embarrassed us in the Anambra by the way they carry on attacking people, destroying lives, destroying property, constituting a nuisance, getting involved in extortion, becoming a political outfit, armed political outfit, and things like that. So it is not only about that incident. So I've always called that the only way for you to have a security outfit, I even suggested our vigilante, is that you document them so that we know who and who is there, where he comes from. We have their personal CVs. Then we train them properly, get them properly trained, because every social responsibility has do's and don'ts. For a security outfit that is intended to provide security for the people, There are things that should not be done. There are standard operational rules. So you get them properly trained. And then you go further by properly equipping them so that they can be able to serve the purpose for which you are putting them in place. And then you remunerate them properly. Because when you don't remunerate them properly, the tendency for them to now use the instrument of office as a means to make money will be there. They will not resort to extorting the citizens they're supposed to protect, intimidating the citizens, and then doing things that is not part of what they're expected to do. Currently, we have them, in fact, getting into becoming part of a land dispute, getting involved in matrimonial causes, getting involved in things that are untoward. At the end of the day, they do things they should not do. We have incidents of people being killed, people being intimidated. And in the last senatorial election that was held in Anambra State, you find them getting involved in electoral process, which shouldn't be the case. So they need to be properly trained. And if we are not ready to train them, disband them. Get them disbanded, get them properly trained and documented so that we know them. They've reached a level where some of them wear face masks. What are you wearing face mask for? Why? Why are you dressed like touts with arm? Let government come out and tell us how much they are paid.
Yeah, I mean, that I was coming to that. Is it possible that the government isn't quite funding the outfit the way they ought to? You've talked about training.
Yes, I think they're not.
That's one flank of it.
Yes.
Having to cater for them.
Yes.
Is another.
Yes.
Another.
I have said it when I released my program for how do I intend to address insecurity. I even put it on the front burner on what I think should be done to make that outfit functional and responsible. I also said about the conventional security, the police, the army, the civil defense, the DSS that we have today in Anambra State. To what extent are we catering for their welfare? To what extent are we catering for their welfare? How are they protected? How are they provided for? Because the situation we have found ourselves is that if you fail to address the issue of these people, the welfare of these persons, you make them vulnerable. If, for example, like I heard, that the longest policeman's family will stay in the barracks if he dies in the course of his, it's about 30 days. Or such things should not even be mentioned. And government will not lose any money. Rather, government will have service. I now suggested, why don't you make it a government policy that every security personnel working in Anambra State will be placed on a life insurance coverage? That life insurance coverage will take care of the responsibility of training his children, providing accommodation for the family, providing for the welfare of the wife and the children in the event of death in the course of service. If these things are put in place, I can guarantee you that the security men will be doing all their utmost best, knowing fully well that if in the course of this assignment, if in the course of trying to better provide enough security for our people, and then I fall victim, to God be the glory. Because he knows those things he's working for. Because the primary responsibility of any person is to look after your family.
That's correct.
And that is why they have come out even to work. So if that thing is guaranteed, why would there be any fear? So you must provide for their welfare. And if you have this bunch that you have created, you must also go the extra mile to provide for their welfare. Get them properly remunerated. Because there's a way you remunerate them. It becomes attractive. Even young graduates will like to be part of it. But no young graduate would like to be part of the touts you have on the street.
All right. Let's move to the issue of the local government. There's a lot of talk about local government autonomy. And the talk out there is that the governors will just allow them to be autonomous. What is that thing that has created that Siamese connection between the governors and the local government that it seems that they are not letting go? Is that a playbook you intend to continue with? Or you're going to have something different? You're going to allow the local government operate the way, unquote, the Constitution wanted it?
You just said the reason. The thing that is holding them is having access to their money. The governors have access, unguarded access to their money. And all the laws that have been made talking about independence of the local government administration is just to make sure that the money is meant for the local governments are sent to the local governments for them to use it for the people. Because you see, the local government structure is the nearest to the people. And I can tell you, if governors allow the local governments to operate using the resources that they are genuinely given, I can tell you the impact of governance in the local governments will be strong. It will be visible. And then you reduce the mistake they make is that if you have very functional local government, the pressure will be of the state. Most people in the various local governments will prefer to go to their local government headquarters than go to the state capital to look for one favor or the other. So activities will return to the state. Governments then can provide supervisory roles, be a big brother, guide them, look at their budget. Before a government chairman starts a project he will not complete, even if he's there for 10 years. You guide them, you put them on the right path, but have no business with their resources. Grant them the needed autonomy. So that, you see, because it is the people that will benefit if the local government system is 100% functional.
But it's just a little challenge here. A lot of governors have sounded this way, but they ended up not allowing the local government.
That is a surprising aspect. That is what is surprising. Why wouldn't you allow the local governments to operate? It is the interest, the desire to go into the deal, to take their money. That is the only reason that I can find. Why are you interfering in the local government administration? It's just to have access to their money. You can guide them on how to use their money. That is why you have commissioners for local government administration who can liaise with them. That is why you have commissioner for budget and planning. The planning can be for the state. You guide the local government, encourage them to invest, taking into account the potentials of each local government, because all the local governments are not the same. That is why even the resources they get from the federal government is not the same. All right? So you can now look at the resources. You look at the areas of strength of these local governments and the areas of weakness. You guide them. You provide the structure to guide them, for them to be able to take full advantage of their areas of their strength and avoid their areas of weakness. And then those responsibilities that are statutorily provided for the local governments, like payment of primary school teachers, like markets, you allow them to control them so that they can also generate revenue. You can create a competitive atmosphere. You can create things like the neatest local government gets a bonus from the state government. All right? The local government that is best in infrastructural development. You see, you create things that will create competition. For me, I like competition, so that you can allow people to compete with by their performance. You can be able to assess them and judge them, and then you allow them the opportunity to grow. If you do that, so it is not only to have access to their money. That is the only thing I can see that may be the interest that is pulling them.
So let's talk about Onitsha for a bit. I'm sure you knew that the Onitsha River Port will come up in this interview. Recently, the Onitsha River Port received goods for the first time this year. You concessioned that port as managing director of the National Inland Waterways Authority sometime in 2021. Almost 4 years after, the port is still receiving goods seasonally and rarely. Now, I mean, as someone who is of Igbo extraction, was that your vision for the port? And if you are elected, what would you do to actually change a few things regarding that port? Because Onitsha is right at the core of the entrepreneurial spirit of Igbo man.
Okay, the Onitsha River Port was actually concessioned in 2022, not 2021. And don't forget that that port has been built for over 40 years and left there. In fact, Shagari built it. It was abandoned. Goodluck Jonathan came and refurbished it. It was also left abandoned. And nothing was happening there until I became MD of NIWA. The driving force for me to make Onitsha River Port very functional is that, one, it will play a major role in saving our infrastructure. Study was conducted, and we found out that over 65% of all the containers that arrive in Lagos and arrive in One in River State and the Port Harcourt port, over 65% of them either end up in Onitsha or end up in Aba, the containers. And we now did a calculation. If, for example, 5 million containers arrive in these 3 locations I mentioned, what that translates to is that 10 million trailers will be on the road, moving the containers and returning the empties. Sadly, our roads are not designed to carry such weight. So this accounts to a very great extent to the damage of our road infrastructure. So I now felt, I said, no. Because in civilized climes, bulk cargo are either moved by water or by rail.
That's correct.
I now said, no. Why can't we move these containers if Onitsha is the destination? Why can't we move these containers directly from Lagos port down to Onitsha? In as much as Onitsha River Port is not yet a port of destination, and Lagos is a port of destination, Port Harcourt, One are all ports of destination, even Calabar are ports of destination. Why can't we now, if the containers arrive in those ports, we move them by barge to Onitsha port, because it's an inland movement. So after discussing this with my team, I now decided to work on it. And what did I do first? Realizing that it is the owner of the consignment that decides how his consignment moves. I engaged the Importers Association of Nigeria. Had a meeting with them, many meetings. Eventually we reached the conclusion that they will use water, but that I must give them a guarantee of their goods and the vessel. So we all agreed that we must provide comprehensive insurance cover. I accepted. I negotiated with insurance companies that were willing to partner with me and get this going. I now got involved in Onitsha Chamber of Commerce. I even had the town hall meeting with them in Onitsha. I also did the same thing in Lagos. So when we started this, I now talked to the clearing agents, freight forwarders. I also engaged them. And when I got the buy-in of all these people, I was good to go. So what I now did was, because I was a little bit scared, I must tell you, be honest with you, the workability of that my vision. So I called the president of Barge Owners Association, who happened to be a friend. I made an appeal to him. I said, I want to strike a gamble. Can he help me move consignment from One to Onitsha? That I don't want press. I want it calm. Let me see how successful it will be using badges. And he said, okay. We agreed on a date. He put 2 badges and moved containers from One to Onitsha. In fact, I was in church. I came on an invitation of the Bishop of Niger Diocese of the Anglican Community. I'm a Catholic. But I came for that program. While I was in church, my chief retainer drew my attention. He said, sir, those badges have arrived on air. I arrived on Onitsha. I said, okay. So immediately after the church service, because there's a program that is going to follow immediately, I went to the bishop. I said, sir, please, you must permit me. I have to go to the Onitsha River Port. That the consignment I was expecting has come. And he exclaims, great surprise, oh, goods came to Onitsha. I said, yes. But please don't tell anybody. Let me get there first. I know how to go, and truly, the containers were there. The badge was there. And then, in fact, they put a tape. The pictures and video available. They put a tape, I had to cut it, commissioning it more or less. Then the trailers, I don't know, I've forgotten the name, the cranes, sorry. The cranes started offloading them. And the fish offloading them, and the badges left back to Port Harcourt. My day was made. It was after that successful move that I now came out in public and announced that I've broken that jinx.
You had to test the ground.
Yes, I had broken that jinx. Then there's this tile factory in Jokuta that produces tiles. And they bring their raw materials from Onitsha. And they send their tiles. At times they move 12, 20 trailers a week, moving tiles from Jokuta to Onitsha. Getting part of the bad road. I met with their management. I said, why don't we use badges and move this consignment to Onitsha? They will work. And they agreed with me. They said they have no jetty. I approved a new jetty for them because they were willing to support me. They were willing to build a jetty. I gave the approval that they can build a jetty. But meanwhile, they can be using the jetty we have, NIWA jetty in Jokuta. And they agreed. And they moved, they said they raised the issue of security because we have NIWA police. I assured them I'm going to provide security. And I provided security. So what I did was, as the badges move, I put gunboats to follow the badges and lead them to Onitsha. And they did it twice and it worked. So it became a way for them to move their consignment. They stopped using trucks to move tiles to Onitsha. So they bring tiles, they carry raw materials using the same badges. In fact, they wanted to buy a badge. I recommended them to one of the people who made an offer to us to give us badges. Because most of these badges were locally fabricated in Port Harcourt. And we had local industrialists who build badges. So I encouraged them. I created an opportunity for them to meet, and they did. And then they continued it from there. So that's how we did. So like you asked, as to what...
Why is it few and far between?
No, you see, you know, this type of business, what has not been there, you need a lot of encouragement. You need a lot of support. You need a lot of... If I had remained as MD of NIWA, because of my passion for that, because of my commitment to getting Onitsha River Port to be very functional, because when I was concessioning Onitsha, we were concessioning Onitsha River Port, because it wasn't me alone. When we were concessioning Onitsha River Port, one of the issues we considered was a technical partnership of anybody who was going to win the concession. Okay. And the person who eventually won the concession, Elysium Consortium, who won the concession, the technical partners is Port of Antwerp, one of the biggest ports in the world. The managers of Port of Antwerp were the technical partners. And as we speak, Mr. Worth from Belgium, Mr. Worth, a Belgian, is the manager of the Onitsha River Port. He's there. So it's a matter of commitment. It's a matter of keep encouraging those persons whom we discussed with. But I don't know to what extent the new management is getting involved. If they have the humility of inviting me to suggest to them what we are doing, how we are doing it, because it's all on my handover note. Okay, it's part of the things I handed over by the time I left office. We'll be able to assist, because I think that I agree with you that the gap is much. Okay, that's why we are still celebrating arrival of badges. The one that just happened a few days ago. But that route can be further developed, and it will encourage the federal government to invest further in dredging. Yeah, because like I did observe while I was in office, and Nigeria has a 36-state structure. You can access 26 states of Nigeria by water. We have over 8,000 something kilometers of waterways, but what is functional today is less than about 3,000. That's what is functional. So we can open up our waterways and make it more effective, because we have quite a lot of advantage. We have a lot to gain as a people if our waterways are open. Yeah.
I wanted to say, well, is it that our people are aquaphobic? But we'll take a break. When we return from that break, I will take on Chief George Moghalu on the issue of zoning and Anambra politics. Stay with us. The Eastern Eye returns after the break. You're welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments in Southeast Nigeria. I still have here with me Chief George Moghalu, the gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party in Anambra State. Wow. Now, what is your position in zoning? Anambra State currently observes zoning. I'm sure you know that. And if the records are correct, you are from NIWA. So how is it going to work for you? Soludo is completing a first term. So what is it like? If you successfully become the governor, do you think you can still go all the way to have a second term?
No, never.
You're going to be
No, never.
gentleman?
No, never.
I'll give you a one
I've
time.
given my word.
Walk away.
I've given my word. For people value themselves. For me, the biggest asset I have is my integrity. And if I give my word, I must stand by it. Today, in Labour Party, that I'm the candidate, I'm a beneficiary of zoning. Why in good conscience will I be a beneficiary and turn around to work against that which I benefited from? That is immoral. Very immoral. It's a reflection of the highest level of dishonesty. And I will never do that. I have said it, and let me repeat it since I have this platform, that I am running for governor of Anambra State, and I will do one term of 4 years. I've said it in many platforms that what you cannot do in 4 years, if you are given 8 years, you will not be able to do it. And I'm coming prepared. I'm coming to start work from day one. And let me also place it on record. The inability of any leader to develop successors is failure on its own. It's monumental failure. If you're unable, like I am now, if after 4 years, I cannot look at Anambra Central and say that we have a quantum of people who can do well, who can take over and run the state, who can improve on my performance, then I have failed. Because one thing I can tell you, in Igbo land, the 5 states of the Igbo land, there is no street that cannot generate a complete federal cabinet. So we are not lacking in human capital. What you may not have had is enough opportunities for them to manifest their capacities and capability. In the central today, and you say you want 500 people who can be governor, I can guarantee you, if you ask for it and give a 2-hour time limit, you will get 1,000 who can be governors. You are talking of a people who have capacity. The average Anambra man has capacity, has ability, has knowledge. So it's a matter of providing them and creating opportunities for them. They will manifest. So 4 years is good enough for anybody who is serious-minded.
Yeah, that's the promise you're making here and now. But we've seen instances where people have made gentleman agreements and it was reneged on. It becomes a problem for people to actually believe that you will keep to that, because the Constitution on its own gives you the liberty to go for a second term.
What the Constitution gave you?
Constitutionally.
No, what the Constitution gave you is a one term of 4 years.
The Constitution gives you an opportunity to seek re-election.
Good. Yes. What the Constitution gave you is 1 term of 4 years. All right? The second term is not an entitlement. All second terms is a gift from the people in appreciation of the service you have rendered, not an entitlement.
That's right.
But here we find ourselves in a situation where even somebody who has failed to perform in 4 years is boldly demanding for second term. Boldly. Open eye. Trying to steal the position. Is there. People who have failed, people, even in their own conscience, they know they have failed. But they now tell you that if you fail exams, make you try again to repeat. When you repeat, you fit pass them. And then you use the entire state to play kalu.
So there are Anambra presents. We had a little chat when you came off camera. Anambra is not like any other state in Nigeria. Anambra, just like you mentioned, every street being able to produce a federal cabinet. It looks like every compound in Anambra can produce a governor.
Yes.
Let me water that down a little more. So is that a problem on its own? Because the field is saturated with qualified individuals who want to be governor of Anambra State. Mike Ejara has a song. He says, "No more later, just one lady, so many suitors."
Yes. But certainly,
Who will it be?
At the end of
it, what is it that whoever it is that will emerge as Anambra governor needs to possess in 2025, come November? Because there are lots of talking points. I will come to how this current governor has performed a little later. But let's focus on whoever wants to knock him off the seat now, democratically, of course. What is it that a person needs to bring on board that is currently not there?
You look at integrity, you look at transparency, you look at honesty in leadership, fear of God, being humble, because you can't run a state like Anambra knowing everything. Being humble, and by the time you put these things into play, you separate the wheat from the chaff. And then you look at experience. You look at experience. Where have we worked before? How did we perform? What was your contribution for the benefit of mankind? What are you bringing to the table? So it is not about what you want as a person. It's about what the people want. Are you people-centric? Do they matter in your calculation? So there's a lot of issues to look at. So by the time you're able to look at all these issues, you'll be able to separate the wheat from the chaff. You'll be able to say Mr. A is different from Mr. B. So basically, that's the answer to your question. There's a lot you can bring to the table. There's a need for proper assessment, for you to know who the person you want to give the opportunity to govern a state is, and then look at his antecedents.
Let's talk about the incumbent governor, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. Already he's in the center. Already he's succeeded in doing that. He's endorsed Tinubu for 2027, and he's seeking re-election. He says that they have a marriage of the progressives. That's how he put it. But you are of the Labour Party. A lot of people believe that there is a resurgence of the APC. But then, he, as a sitting governor, has endorsed the president. But the APC has a gubernatorial candidate in the state. For some people who are not political analysts and strategists, it may be confusing, isn't it? How do you think that will happen? As someone who isn't either progressive or, well, you're not a progressive by
definition,
by what was written in the party, but your party enjoyed a lot of support in the 2023 election.
People-centric.
Yeah.
The party is about the people.
Is it still there?
Yes.
Well, when you have the Labour Party up against APGA, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, and then we don't know what will happen with the APC, because obviously the candidate is also talking tough.
Yes, contesting.
Yes. So, but the current governor says that he has aligned with the center. So,
you know, for me,
help us break it down.
Yeah, for me,
those that are not from Anambra might not understand.
No, for me, I'm not even bothered about that, because I see it as an act of desperation, for which the governor himself is in a better position to explain, because I cannot think for him, neither can I speak for him. He has his reasons to decide to align with the center, and I wish him well, because it's about what you think that was for you. But for me, it looks more like a survivalist. It's a survivalist tendency, but so be it. And then how they are going to manage it amongst themselves is entirely their problem. I am not part of their problem, and I don't want to be part of their problem. Let them sort themselves out. But the point is that the Anambra people will have an opportunity to choose a leadership that will be in their interest. They should look for a leadership that will give them back their government. Because you see, I have said it and let me repeat it again, that one of the biggest challenges we have today in governance is that the people have lost confidence in their government. They don't trust government anymore. They see government as a fraudulent contraption. They see anybody seeking for public office as dishonest. They see politicians as untrustworthy, people you can't rely upon. They don't believe government anymore. Anything government says, they say it's okay. We've heard it before and things like that. So for me, it's a major challenge to win back the confidence of the people so that they can again trust their government, so that they can again participate in their government, so that they can again play a role in their government. And when you are able to achieve that, you win back their confidence, governance becomes a lot easier. Because they will be in a position to help you, they'll be in a position to advise you, they'll be in a position to guide you, they'll be in a position to offer opinions. And whatever you ask them to do, they will do it with joy. Because they see that government as their government, as their own. They play the role in putting it in place, and why not? They do everything they can to sustain and get their government to survive.
So let's have an assessment of Governor Chukwuma Soludo's tenure so far. He's done his first term. Basically, this year is his fourth year, or 3.5 years, if you like, because maybe by May, I don't know when the swearing in is in Anambra after the elections, but give us an assessment of what has happened, laid it against what he promised to do. That is a Soludo solution blueprint. How much of solution have you seen?
I've not seen anything. You see, because I'm happy you said that we should lay their performance side by side their promise. And don't forget that the key promise that the governor made was that he's going to turn Anambra State to Dubai, Taiwan. That was a key promise. And that was the selling point. Excuse me. The government also promised that they are going to use technology to collect taxes. That they were not going to be primitive, they were going to do away with touts and what have you. But where are we today? We haven't seen the Dubai, we haven't seen the Taiwan. I don't know when we are going to see it. Today, rather than do away with touts, we have now enhanced their capacity. Today in Anambra State, it's touts that use mortar and pestle. You know what we call a kodo in our place, to beat in the Anambra, to collect taxes. Today, our businessmen are overtaxed. I'm sure that if you go through the social media, you will see pictures, nauseating pictures and videos of human beings using pestle to hit Anambra on the leg, all in an attempt to extort money from them and taxes. So, for me, this is at variance with the promises that was made. But I'll be most unfair to my conscience if I sit down here and say they didn't do anything in 4 years. That would be most unfair. But I try to describe it using an analogy. If this room is pitch dark, completely dark, if you bring in candlelight, you have brought illumination. If you bring in a 20-watt bulb, you've also brought illumination. If you bring a 40-watt bulb, you have brought improved illumination. If you bring 60-watt bulb, you have brought in improved illumination. If you bring floodlights, like the type we have here, you have brought highly improved illumination. All right? So for me, assessing their government is a case of, yes, they have done their best is not good enough. They've come in a situation that is pitch dark, and they have brought candlelight. But have it at the back of your mind that you cannot give what you don't have.
So, okay, let's put it this way. Is Anambra a difficult place to govern?
I don't think so.
Because it looks like every governor that has gone in, the analysis is usually, I don't want to use the word awkward, right from, let me start from 1999, Chinwoke Mbadinuju, may God rest his soul. He didn't have a smooth ride. He didn't.
No,
no, I'm coming to, you have the opportunity of
yeah, go ahead.
And then the thing was Ngige that took over after. In between, we've seen a few other persons, P2B, even controversies here and there, impeachments here and there. And that number has gone off the normal calendar of elections, which also brings the election in Anambra on the spotlight, national spotlight. Do you think that this also contributes to what we see when someone emerges as governor in Anambra? Because the person is seen in an isolated way. You are not sworn in on May 29th like the rest, who will just move in like the rest, and some of them move quietly, no one knows what's happening. Was this just about Anambra? What is it?
It's not Anambra. Sorry, excuse me. Anambra State, for example, is not the only state that has off-the-cuff elections. Imo has, Osun State has, Ekiti has, so quite a number of states, for one reason or the other. Because what led to Anambra State situation was the attempt to impeach P2B that the Supreme Court ruled against, was what moved us off the calendar, because you wouldn't deny him his opportunity to serve his 4-year term as provided for by the Constitution. Having said that, Anambra State is not a difficult state to manage, because the truth is that Anambra is a state that has a lot of independent-minded persons. Anambra State is a state that people can thrive. Anambra State is a state where the citizens are only asking government to provide the enabling environment, create us the opportunity, and then they thrive. And that is the situation we have found ourselves in this election period. Having said that, Anambra State, I will repeat, is not difficult to manage. Yes, you mentioned about Mbadinuju. He had a smooth ride until the issue of owing of salaries, not paying pensioners, calling them deadwoods, and schools shut down for 1 year plus. Excuse me. And that difficulty came. Okay? When Ngige came, Ngige, though his coming in was rough because of how he came in, but eventually Ngige discharged himself well.
And he was kidnapped. I mean,
yes,
that's the controversy I'm talking about.
Yeah, he discharged himself well, because if you saw his performance, some of the roads Ngige built, in fact, all the roads Ngige built during his tenure are actually the roads that are surviving, and the ones P2B built. Those two at that period. At those roads you can still find in Anambra State. The ones that are being done today, as you do them before the next rainy season, they are all washed off. The videos are there. Okay, you find them everywhere. So it's not about our people not being, our people being difficult. No. It's not about the people. For the average Anambra man, once you create an enabling environment, they will thrive. They don't need much of government. So government has a way, or should have a responsibility to do things right for the benefit of the people.
So if you have an opportunity to become governor of Anambra State, if you emerge in November, what would be your immediate priority as an Anambra governor if you win?
Security. Security is the most immediate, because the security challenge in Anambra State is affecting the economy, is affecting agriculture, is affecting everything. Industrialization, everything practically. Insecurity is affecting all this. That is not to say that I will not declare state of emergency on education and health, Okay, there's quite a lot that needs to be done in the state. And that is why we have developed a 12-point agenda as a party, which we are marketing to the Anambra. For them, once they trust us and give us the opportunity, we're going to hit the ground running and then deal with those issues, particularly insecurity.
I mean, 12-point agenda.
Yeah.
Some people say it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
But if you are told to unbox that 12-point agenda, what is it?
Yeah, it has to do with general well-being of the people. We talk about security, you talk about education, you talk about health, you talk about agriculture, you talk about youth empowerment, you talk about women development, you talk about power, you talk about infrastructural development. They're all clearly spelled out. And we give timelines. Okay, it's not about just putting in place. The ones we will do in 6 months, we'll tell you. The ones we will do in 1 year, 4 years, we try to explain them out so that you can hold us to it. For example, we said we are going to renovate 1,000 schools in 4 years. And it's doable. Because today we have schools in very dilapidated conditions. Okay? We have a situation where teachers are not properly trained and prepared because you can't give what you don't have. If you plant oranges, you should get oranges, not apples. Okay? If you want apples, you plant apples. In this 21st century, you must prepare the students on the use and management of AI, internet. You must bring them up to speed in this world of technology.
That's right.
So that they can fit into what is happening.
I wanted to take you up on power because I heard you mention power there.
Yeah.
And Anambra is industrialized.
Yes,
but
yes,
maybe
highly.
Maybe not as industrialized as it wants to be.
As it ought to be.
As it ought to be. There are many people that are into manufacturing who would want access to affordable energy, affordable power. They are not getting that. What would you do differently? Because now that states can take charge of their electricity regulation.
You have already
So
answered the question.
what can you do differently in that sense? Because a lot of states have heard that, but they haven't done anything.
Good, it's about leadership. Enugu has started it. It's about leadership. Because it has been deregulated that states now can generate and distribute their power. Why can't we do that? I expect the Anambra State should be one of the first states, if not the first state, to think in that direction. Because we need to. We can even generate power from refuse. Because I remember I met a team, in 2003 when I wanted to run for governor the first time. They offered to give me technology using refuse to generate electricity. I became very much attracted to it and interested because it's going to solve two-pronged problem for me. Refuse collection becomes wealth now, becomes wealth creation. Because you see people investing in it to collect refuse which they need. So I became attracted to it. But as at that time, the issue of power has not been deregulated. It was entirely a federal government agenda. But now that it's been deregulated, we can invest in it. Government can also invest in green energy. And because the Anambra State is a state that has great potentials, I expected that we should be the first, or even among the first states, that will take full advantage of that federal government policy and then invest in our electricity.
And finally, before I let you go, would you be willing to go on a debate?
Oh, why not?
Oh, with anyone on this?
Oh, yes. No, I've said any day. Call me any day. What is difficult is telling lie. But to speak the truth, you say exactly how you feel, say it with all good conscience and in all honesty, and allow the people to take their decision. What you will need to do much thinking is how do I manage this lie? How do I put it that people will believe it? But when it has to do with telling the truth, you just say it and then get away with it and leave the people to be the judge. For them to read through the lines and be able to know who is saying the truth and who is not telling the truth.
On that truthful note, I have to thank you so much,
Alex,
Dr. George
Moghalu,
for talking to us on the Eastern Eye tonight. Chief George Moghalu is the gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party in the Anambra governorship elections come November. Thank you.
My pleasure, as always. Thank you.
And that's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll see you again soon. My name is Alex Obodo. Good night.